Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. You know, this was supposed to be a very big week for me and for the pro-Israel movement here in the United States. On Wednesday, June 11th, just 2 days from now, I was set to speak at the Israel Summit. Now, it's a large pro-Israel gathering put together by my good friends from the Israel Guys. You may have seen their great YouTube channel here. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Israel Guys YouTube channel. But they were organizing this great event. I was going to speak there. Ambassador David Friedman, the former U.S. ambassador to Israel, was going to speak there as well. Former Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann. We had members of the Israeli Knesset coming to Dallas, Texas, where I'm sitting right now, to hold this great pro-Israel event for such a time as this, as Israel's fighting a war on 7 fronts and as anti-Semitism is rearing its violent head right here in the United States. And yet, folks, this is where we are at right now in 2025 in America. The event has been canceled. Why? Because the Israel Guys couldn't find a venue willing to host it. Why is that? Because of threats. Physical terroristic threats by Islamic jihadists, and who knows, maybe some left-wing radicals as well, threatening this event, threatening harm to people participating in or attending this event. Again, this is in America in 2025. In Texas, by the way, in DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth, they couldn't find a venue willing to host them because of the intense threat level. The threat level is really through the roof right now in America. We saw what happened last week, where an Islamic jihadist firebombed a group of Jews, including a Holocaust survivor in Boulder, Colorado. Last month, we had 2 Israeli embassy staffers, Christians, by the way, gunned down and murdered in cold blood in the streets of Washington, D.C., and the list goes on, and that's where we're at in terms of the threat level. So even in Texas, they couldn't hold, the Israel Guys, this Israel Summit. And by the way, they had problems last year in Nashville, Tennessee, but they were able to host the event ultimately there in Nashville. A very dangerous moment in America, and it's just a few days, by the way. Talk about a reminder after the 81st anniversary of the storming of the beaches of Normandy, where our brave soldiers here in America fought for our freedoms, the kind of freedoms that were trampled on this week when this summit was canceled by anti-American agitators and terrorists. And by the way, last week as well was also, I believe, the 57th anniversary or 58th anniversary, I'm sorry, of the Six-Day War, Israel's great fight for freedom, a momentous victory against its enemies. So with all that as the backdrop, I sat down with one of the co-founders, the COO of the Israel Guys, our good friend Luke Hilton, and Rabbi Ari Abramowitz came all the way from Israel to participate in this Israel Summit, and then it was canceled. Check him out at thelandofisrael.com. He's part of the Land of Israel Network. 2 great guys, 2 men of God, doing God's work, and they broke down what exactly happened with the summit getting canceled in America, in Texas of all places, and what comes next. How do we win this fight for Judeo-Christian civilization? Take a look. Gentlemen, great to have you with us. I was supposed to be joining you at the Israel Summit here in Dallas this week. I was going to speak. Rabbi Ari, you were, and Luke, you were helping to organize the event. Luke, take us through real quick what happened and where we're at right now.
Sure, yeah. Thank you for having us. It does, like you said, feel like this is a turning point in America. My question right now is, can Jews and pro-Israel Christians safely gather in public in support of Israel today? And Dallas, Texas, of all places, it honestly feels like that's no longer possible. So 2 weeks ago, our first venue in Arlington, Texas, because of what happened in Washington, D.C., and then in Boulder, Colorado, the threat level and the threat analysis for anything Israel-related has just skyrocketed. So long story short, the security operations that had to be involved with law enforcement and private security and the costs involved made it impossible to hold the Israel Summit at the original venue. So we then moved to a second venue, private facility outside of Dallas, and then the threat started. And we've seen this before. You know, we had this happen in Nashville, Tennessee last year. Pro-Hamas activists, pro-Palestinian activists. They get on social media. They had a banner-making party preparing to come and protest at our event that was supposed to start, this week. But then what happened is we received word from our security connections that there was threats on the dark web. And we're talking about direct and indirect threats against our organization, against the host venue, against the conference itself. Yeah. They use the terminology, we are going to target the Israel summit. Now, after Boulder, Colorado, and Washington, D.C., I don't understand that any other way except that means we're going to commit violence against Jews and possibly anybody who wants to stand with the Jewish people in Israel. So it's very unfortunate that we're, no longer able to hold a public event in Dallas, Texas in support of Israel.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee last year, difficulties holding the event. Now Texas, it had to be canceled because of physical threats. Ari, you're coming from Israel. You're actually a Texas native. You've been in Israel for a long time, though. From an Israeli perspective, how do you see this, what's happening in America right now? How concerned are you?
Well, first of all, from a Texan perspective, I'm fourth-generation Texan, only because of the destruction of the temple and the exile of the Jewish people. But Texas is alive within me. Yeah. And the Alamo is a part of my heart. I see Masada from my balcony. To the Texas ethos. Don't mess with Texas. Yeah. Texas has a strength and a courage and a faith and a conviction. And I was shocked when I heard that in Texas, maybe Oregon, but to cancel it in Texas, that shocks me because I don't leave Israel for anything. But Hayovel, the Israel guys, they are the best friends we have. And so they asked me to come, so I came. And when I got here, I'll just tell you, I couldn't believe that America doesn't see with clarity that the war is not against Israel and the Jewish people. The war is against all those who are resisting the caliphate. Yeah. All women that don't want to wear a burqa, this war is against you. We're just in Judea, we're the tip of the spear. We're on the front lines fighting for the entire free world. And to have them just say, oh, we got a few threats. I would expect Texas to say, oh, we invite you, please come to our event. We don't want security. We just have Texans that are packing heat. And they wouldn't come because they're cowards. They're cowards. If they sense fear from us, it's a win.
Yeah. So solutions now, gentlemen. Look, this happened. It nearly happened last year. It didn't, thank God. The Israel Summit went on. I mean, I think of this event, guys. Look, Ari, you were supposed to speak. Luke, myself, Ambassador David Friedman, a good friend of ours here at TBN, Michelle Bachmann, former Congresswoman, members of the Israeli Knesset. This wasn't some fringe radical gathering, needless to say. So what do we do now? You want to have an Israel Summit perhaps next year, Luke? What can be done in this climate, this threat climate? As you mentioned, D.C., Boulder, deadly anti-Semitic attacks. And look, Christian supporters of Israel also have a bullseye on their backs as well.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And we can't take this lying down. This can't be a defeat. We're looking at rescheduling the Israel Summit maybe even this year. We just have to find a venue who is bold and courageous enough to stand up against intimidation and against threats. And like you were saying, the Jewish people have been a target of anti-Semitism, which is just a fancy word for Jew hatred, for thousands of years. And nothing's changing, right? And in America, unfortunately, since October 7th, anti-Semitism has grown when you would think it would be the opposite, right? But I think right now we're seeing a turning point where if you're a pro-Israel Christian, if you're a believer in the Bible and the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're also becoming a target. And so whether you're a Jew, whether you're a Christian, or honestly, a freedom-loving American, then this is a warning. This is a wake-up call. It's time to take action. We can't sit idly by. We can't just talk. We have to get out there and stand up against this hatred, against these jihadist threats that are seem to be overwhelming America right now.
Luke, well said. It always starts with the Jews, Ari, but it never ends with the Jews. Some final thoughts from you on this whole situation and the way forward.
Yeah, it starts in Auschwitz for the Jews, but it ends in Pearl Harbor for America. That's right. The war against Israel, the war against the Jews of Judea, the Jews of the land of Israel, is a war against all that love liberty and freedom, especially those that believe in the Bible and the God of Israel. The war is against you. And this is the time to show we are not afraid. We will triple, double. We will have thousands of events throughout America standing with Israel and the Jewish people. And if you want to attack them, we invite you because we're ready. We're ready. That is the understanding Islam and the way they see the world. When they sense fear, they will attack. And so there needs to be a biblical faith and a courage that is sparked in the hearts of all those that really fear God.
Amen. Well said. Two things, guys, as we close. Number one, when you do have the Israel Summit, I will be there. I can promise you that. And number two, the Israel guys, subscribe on YouTube, Luke's great channel, thelandofisrael.com, the Land of Israel Network, Rabbi Ari doing great stuff, guys. Great work, brave work there from Luke Hilton and Rabbi Ari Abramowitz. Folks, again, check Luke out, the Israel Guys channel here on YouTube, Ari at thelandofisrael.com, and be sure to subscribe to this channel as well, the Watchman channel. Hey, we've got over 1 million subscribers for such a time as this, and we believe God's got even bigger things in store because we're bringing a message of unapologetically biblical truth. Now, this week, we're monitoring what's going on in Iran, what's going on in Gaza. There's a lot to talk about, folks. I'm back from a surgical procedure I just had, as you know. I'm back in the saddle now. Great to be back with you. And I wanted to say before we go, a big thank you to all of our Watchmen viewers, because we had thousands and thousands. Hey, I read the comments. Thousands and thousands of our Watchmen viewers were praying for me and my family in the aftermath of that surgery. So I cannot thank you enough. I feel like God is shoring me up for some big things to come and the fights we have to fight. So thank you very much to my Watchmen and women on the wall. I'm back in the saddle. Great to be back with you. And until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.